Welcome to Old Guy Tech,
the OGT.TV recording studio.
Technology for the rest of us.
Hi, Rob Charney, Old Guy Tech TV, and you know what? I'm here with Brian Veerkamp, running for Supervisor District 3. Brian, thank you very much for coming and spending some time with me. It's always a privilege having anybody that runs for office at all. It's a thankless job, so I want to thank you for going out there and running and working hard and making the campaign the best you can. So, hey, why don't you let our listeners know a little bit about yourself? Why don't you tell us your background, your history, you know, how did you get started wanting to become a supervisor, and let you start. Go ahead and talk about it.
Thanks for the opportunity, Rob. I appreciate it very much. I know you're a busy guy, and I know this sort of thing is really great for the community, and it helps get the word across, so I appreciate that a lot. You know, born and raised here, family's been here since the 1850s.
Wow.
A very strong, long family heritage that, you know, obviously we're very proud of. Went to Dorado High School. From there, I was heck bent on going to law school.
Yeah.
And so I went to American River College, Sacramento State,
Yeah.
got a degree in business administration and minored in economics, and started my law school career. At the same time, I was approached by the then Fire Chief Al Herzig in Placerville, because we just got married. We live up above the station there in downtown. And he said, you know, have you ever thought about being a volunteer firefighter? And I said, no, I hadn't, but you know, I'd love to come down and see what it's about. So long story short, I became a volunteer firefighter at that time, and I was working for Vicini, doing construction work, going to law school at night, and I became a volunteer firefighter. And the bug bit me. It was really about helping people, and I really truly found my real calling, and that was you know, when people are running away from things, I like to run in. And I liken it to, you know, running for the Board of Supervisors or running for Camino School Board or other things that I've done in the community. And it's just trying to help out and give back. We live in such a blessed community and a blessed county, and I have the, you know, knowledge, experience, abilities, and just love to help, and that's what this is all about. So I spent 30 years then in the fire service, again, starting as a volunteer, worked my way through a paid call, and then a firefighter, an engineer, a captain, and then we consolidated fire districts in 1991 finally when it was done, and formed the now called El Dorado County Fire Protection District. A couple years into that, there was an assistant chief's position available in El Dorado Hills, still in the county, and I tested for that position and moved down there. Still working as the lead for the Training Officers Association throughout the county, so we were responsible for all of the firefighter training, all of the volunteer training. We started a volunteer fire training academy, which to this day still occurs.
Wow.
And we started at 40 hours, now it's well up over 160 hours.
Yeah.
And just the requirements are so intense for volunteers, but it's the thing that OSHA and everybody requires. So that still happens, and
that happens right here in our
happens
county?
here in this county, and done by our El Dorado County Training Officers Association.
Wow.
I'm still a piece of that because I also, during that time, took on the Emergency Medical Training Services Director role for the training officers through the Chiefs Association. I still hold that role today. So you
want to be busy, don't you?
But it's a good thing because it puts people right out there serving our people. So first responder, EMTs, and automatic early defibrillation, CPR, all of that works through programs that we work with through the Chiefs Association. As well as all those years I've been an instructor for Los Rios Community College District. It used to be UBR, University Behind Raley's.
Yep.
And so I'm a charter faculty member for that, and still teach today, and we'll have a class coming up this fall. So just, you know, many hats came out of that fire service career, and I still am deeply involved, and again, I think it's the right thing because it pays people back. Another piece of that has been you know, a big part of it is running our El Dorado County Emergency Services Joint Powers Authority. That is basically our ambulance service and dispatch services throughout the county. I sat as a board chairman for that for 2 years and was on that board for 3 years.
Wow.
And it still, again, exists today, and that's how our ambulances and our dispatch services get presented to the people out there. So, you know, heavily involved there.
Is fire dispatch and police dispatch, they work together, or they're separate? How's that work?
At one time we had what was called central dispatch, which was the sheriff's department, police department, and the fire and ambulance, except for CAL FIRE, CDF then, and the U.S. Forest Service. And I'm going to say 2000-ish, somewhere around there, don't quote me on the date, we split off of Central Dispatch, and all of fire and emergency services, short of law enforcement, went to CAL FIRE, CDF, up out of Camino.
Okay.
And so all of that now is dispatched through there. And that contract is administered annually through the Joint Powers Authority, and I think it represent and does a very good job in again serving the people out there.
Yeah.
And since then, the police department as well is split off of Central Dispatch. So now dispatch is for the sheriff's department. Police department has its own. You know, in looking at the big picture and consolidating services, that one went the other way.
Yeah, it went the other way, didn't it? Yeah.
You know, our goal was to get all of the emergency service, first response, and fire under one roof, because there was certainly connection problems, and that took care of all that. You know, and maybe I just think too simply sometimes, but all under one roof with the same focus and priority. You know, is there an economy of scale there? It was something to be looked at.
Yeah, I remember when the police department wanted to break off and control their own, and I think that was a dollars and cents thing. They got kind of upset at what they were being charged by the county, if I remember right.
I believe you're right. Yeah. And you know, and having now the retrospective being with a CAL FIRE contract, there's really not a lot of ways to cut a lot of money there.
Yeah.
So we have to. It's always what's the best service. The service has worked out. I think it's worked out. I believe for police, but you know, you'd have to talk to you know the two chiefs.
Yeah,
and I know for Sheriff DiAugustini as well. I think he's got things going very well through their dispatch center, and I know people there that are doing a great job.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to bring up with the sheriff is dispatch, and talk to him a little bit about that, and help our listeners out there. I know there's always this issue about calling 911 with a cell phone. Can you explain that?
Yeah, the California Highway Patrol really controls the calling 911 with a cell phone. All of those go through their dispatch center, and the problem with that is they're busy. There are numerous calls that may not be true emergencies, and you can literally be put on hold.
Yeah.
So now with the newer technology, some of the cell phones go to the closest tower, which will go to the right dispatch agency. And we've tried and are still working to try to get legislation passed that's how it should be.
Right.
Because there can be quite a call delay in that process. So what we tell most businesses and areas is to have the dispatch line for either the local sheriff's department or their local fire dispatch center programmed in their cell phone as well, so that they can call that the immediate line other than the 911, which goes to California Highway Patrol.
It could be a delay in that.
Yep.
I know that the El Dorado Rod and Gun Club, we went ahead and posted that dispatch number so that we didn't have that delay, because we were concerned about that.
Yes.
And,
yeah.
and that's not the best cell coverage area either. And,
and you'd like to think we could work through that issue, but it's been one that's been continual for years, and I think it's about funding and money, and if they don't do this, somebody gets cut there. Well, it's somebody's life, and I think that would trump.
Yeah.
But
you get people kind of trying to protect their serfdom, shall we say? I didn't say that correct, but
unfortunately, but in my book, when it comes to life safety, there shouldn't be any of that.
See, now I wasn't even aware. Other than the police department, I didn't realize that fire was broken off too. So now we got three. That's interesting.
Yes,
maybe something to work on, huh?
Yep,
Combining?
something that we certainly could look at, and I truly believe, and we have for years been very good collaborators through all the past sheriffs, the past police chiefs. We've worked very good in this county. As a matter of fact, I think we set a model to be followed throughout the state, because we would always be compared to other areas, and they say, well, we don't even talk to our sheriff. We don't even talk to PD unless we have a call. Something goes bad, and then you have an issue. So, collaboration, getting together up front, knowing what your capabilities and resources are. Matter of fact, every year when I was involved, we had a multi-agency meeting, and that was to bring all the players in, EID, all the high school districts, the small school districts, talk about transportation issues. So if we had the major emergency, and we're talking the big one, everybody knew at least what your capabilities were and what your resources were and who Rob Charney was.
Right.
So you didn't have to, oh, who are you?
Yeah.
That's not the time to be doing that.
Yeah.
You want to be prepared and ready to go to work.
Right.
And it works very well. And we those type of things we need to keep going because that sets our county above the rest.
Yeah. What a great job. I'm glad you did that. I mean, it's just something that need to be done. We need the response as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and it just wasn't me. I mean, everybody had to be interested enough to come, and they did. And that's, like I said, all the past sheriffs, including up into Sheriff Giagostini and his people. We made sure and we taught incident command to all of the people so they understood their roles, and they all collaborated, and that's how we make it work.
Yeah.
One agency, one person doesn't make it work. You got to collaborate. So
now you mentioned on the firefighter situations on the volunteers. How are we doing on volunteers, and what's the demographic breakdown on a volunteer?
Well, it used to be we had a lot of older, I don't mean old, but I mean members of the community that wanted to do it because they wanted to give back. Well, the requirements are such now that the business owner and the more mature person has got family commitments, has work commitments, and it just takes a lot of time. So now what we see is a much more younger crowd looking to make it a career and a job, which is fine. We can use them as not only volunteers but resident firefighters, and especially in this economy, you got to be creative, and that works out very well.
Right.
I like to work towards a mix, so you have both of those, because obviously a lot of the more mature people can teach the younger people a lot about life and other instances that are very important.
Right.
And then besides that, a lot of them, and especially in El Dorado Hills, we had a very good program. They're CEOs of large companies, and they have a lot of good, valuable information that could be used on the business side of the fire district. Maybe not so much on the volunteer firefighter, but they love that because that's why they got it. But you can always ask them questions. Plus, they're members of the community, and if you need something, boom, they support you.
Yeah, there you go. And they're usually pretty good businessmen. So if you have questions on that aspect, that's a good way of going.
Yep.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about supervisors now. And since you're running for supervisor, one of the things that I hear all the time is, boy, we need to bring jobs into El Dorado County, and we need to find creative ways of doing that. Tell me your philosophy. You have some ideas. You have some things that we can do. Yes,
a lot of it just goes back to regulations and where we've gotten to. And I just came from a meeting a guy just before the board 2 o'clock item today. And just one example, let's just swimming pool permit. 10 years ago, 13 years ago, it was $100.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I know because I pulled a permit to build one, it was $1,038. Just the other day, this gentleman pulled his permit, $1,348. So, and that's a luxury item.
Yeah.
So our fees have gotten out of hand. Again, at 2 o'clock today, they're talking about the traffic impact mitigation fee and the traffic model demand. They're working on numbers that are years into the future that have not materialized, and that's what the general plan was based on.
Right.
Those numbers have to be real, and they're not. In the fire service and in the school district, you have to reanalyze those things yearly. The county is currently talking about stuff that's 10 and 20 years into the future that is obviously not happening because everybody else is adjusting their fees downward, and we're way behind the power curve. So those things have to change, and we have to be business and people friendly. I think customer service is job one. That creates a lot of jobs right there.
Right.
And if people feel like they're wanted and helped through the process, I think you can do lots of stuff. And the housing bubble burst. Everything went to the weeds, and we, as a county, did not make adjustments fast enough or quick enough, and we're living now with the results, and we're still, to this day, have not made major changes. There's been a small reduction in TIM fees to really incentivize anything, and in the meantime, all around us, and you don't have to look very far around us, seeing very successful Sacramento County, Amador County, Placer County, and they're getting it right. I don't think we need to recreate the wheel. They've commissioned a advisory committee, EDAC, to help with, and again, that's a cross representation of business owners and people, and they've got great suggestions, and I think we need to start implementing some of those.
Yeah, you hear crazy things like I think it's $100 now to change your hot water heater.
Right. Well, it could even be more than that.
It may even be more than that
yeah.
now. I mean, it's like, what?
Yeah. We're not focusing on what's truly important, and we're getting lost in all of the little pieces and things that, to me, and then again, that customer service piece. We've got great people at the county, but I think there's a lot of mixed signals, and we've got to get organized, set some priorities, and move this county in a positive direction.
Yeah, you hear so many complaints on the building department. That seems to be the big one, and building and planning together there. What's your thoughts on that? Are we going to try to improve that, or?
Well, I think that is occurring. I mean, obviously with the change in the new CAO and
right.
assistant CAO, personnel are being discussed, attitudes are being discussed,
right.
And I think we're moving in a good direction there. We got to continue that, and in my mind, we've got to actually maybe make it even a higher priority to get some things done a little quicker.
Yeah.
They're talking about still a potential for a couple years for this TIM fee thing to move, and it's like we've been dealing with for 2 years already, and it's just one of the pieces that strangles this local economy as it speaks. And then obviously we got state and federal issues that we need to work with, but again, I think as myself, and I have been involved at state level and at the federal level, to collaborate and work through some of those issues, because they're things that we need to get addressed.
Right. I know a number of years ago in planning, when things were really going crazy, we were actually farming out the planning permits for outside planners to look at and fill in. Are we still into that now? Are we handling it all internally?
No, I believe there's still some contract stuff that they're doing that, and to me, if that's the most economical and feasible way, it's always ought to be looked at.
Right.
Other places do the same thing. I know Roseville does. Folsom does. Folsom just sent their people to some very extensive training, and their goal is a 3-day turnaround, and they're doing it for large-scale commercial projects.
Right.
So where are you going to go?
Right.
If you can get your project approved and most likely save some fees and maybe get some sort of incentives or cost sharing or something,
sure.
Where are you going to go? I mean, it's a business decision.
Right.
And that's why, unfortunately, people are leaving this county as well as the state, because we're not being business friendly.
Yeah. It makes it real difficult for somebody to want to come into El Dorado County and build a home.
Right.
The fees that are just, I hear it almost weekly. Somebody saying, I want to pull a permit, and it was, for a garage. They wanted $20-some thousand in fees.
Right.
We've gone crazy here. We've got to do something to help, the builders and the people want them in here, not chase them away.
That's right. Because if they're all going to work somewhere else, then eventually they're going to live somewhere else, and a lot of them are shopping somewhere else because they can do it on the way home or the like. And we have some retail, obviously some retail leakage that's hurting this county.
Sure.
We need to focus on that, and that doesn't mean put a big box on every corner. The right fit is what the people want.
Right.
The Buxton study and some of the other stuff the county has done has indicated that. So we need to now get with the people and see what they like and what they'll tolerate, and how best to design it so we don't further impact traffic and those sorts of things.
Well, I think it's a good thing if we can save sales tax staying in El Dorado County. I think that's important, and that's my opinion. And I know that they're talking about a new center off of Forney in that section in there, and I'm not sure exactly what they're talking about the mix going in there, but there's some stores here that we're missing that people are going down the hill to go to.
That's that Buxton study that the county has completed now, and is identifying some of those things. So now we've got to, again, collaborative work through to see what they are, what the people are good with, and then how do we get there?
Yeah.
And in a timely fashion, because if you're not, and we lost just Costco, for example, years ago, because still haven't provided any infrastructure to either place to do it. And the business park at that time, El Dorado Hills Business Park, they couldn't make it happen there either, so where did it go? Folsom.
Right to Folsom.
And where do most people go? Folsom.
Yeah. It's a shame. It was an example of a large company, Apple, wanting to get out of California. They're moving into Texas.
Right.
Texas came to them and said, we'll build your roads, we'll give you your infrastructure, we'll give you tax breaks, we'll do whatever it takes to get you in here.
Yes.
Try that in California.
Waste management is another one. Waste connections, I should say.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you lose. We haven't lost it entirely, but you do lose some of the philanthropy and other things that they're famous for.
Right.
They're still well invested in this community. but we lost the principal base of that company from California and this local area here, and that's sad. California is a great place to live, a great place to be. This county has got things that other areas never could offer, and we need to work to accentuate those, within reason, but to our advantage, to where we can, at least have jobs to support our local community.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of the other things that is hurting in this community a lot is, and I'm involved with technology a lot, is the ability or lack of broadband internet. And I know it's an issue that some of the people are addressing, but it's really sad. It's so mishandled by AT&T. It's unbelievable. And I don't know if you as supervisor will have a chance to look at that or down the road try to help it. But there's some other solutions out there that we've got to try to bring in, because that's the other thing that'll keep jobs here.
That's correct.
We get people that can get the connections that they need to the internet to do their job. We'll retain them here.
Yeah, and plus they can do it from their home, so it reduces the footprint and allows them flexibility to work from home.
It helps everything, keeps the traffic off the road. It keeps pollution down. I mean, there's a number of reasons for it.
And again, I think that comes back to a good collaborative effort. I know there's a good coalition of folks working on that right now.
They're trying,
and I think from the county level, we need to help.
Right.
And again, that's the business friendly. That's the we want to embrace this type of thing. And oh, by the way, to me, that's an easy way to improve your current situation without a big traffic impact or anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's I think what fits in today very well.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is you got STEM Express now in town, and some other higher tech robotics in the business park, and some things in Shingle. Those are great companies to go after. But again, they're certainly all about the bottom line. And if they can't make it pencil out, they'll go to other places, other states.
Yep.
And again, that's why we have got to get from the county to the state and help them to understand these things that are happening aren't working.
Do you feel that the state, on the state level, do you feel that the state of California is trying to improve bringing businesses into California, or do we still have that attitude that we've got, and you don't like it, go somewhere else?
I don't think it's working. I think in our current example of people leaving is an indication it's not working. And I don't think there's a lot of incentive being put out there. It might be for some favorites that they may want to go attract, but to my book, needs to be across the board. It needs to be a level playing field. So any A through Z business comes in and knows what is expected, and there should be help to get there.
Yeah.
And higher taxes, tax and spend, and those things are not our answers. And we learned that long ago. I'm a firm believer there's nothing new in the future we need to learn.
Yeah.
We just need to look to the past.
Yeah.
And that goes clear back to our Constitution and so forth, because we're losing sight of it. And that's truly what it was there for, was to be our guiding principles and for us to succeed not only as individuals in our freedoms, but for our country.
Sure.
And Rob, you know that very well.
Oh, yeah.
And they're infringing on it every chance they get, and we as people have to stand up to that.
Well, and we get to that. I'm a big shooter. I shoot a lot of trap, a lot of guns. I'm a big Second Amendment person. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your position?
Well, clear back to when I was a little boy. My dad taught me how to use a BB gun, and we were brave white hunters, and everything else there was relative to that would obviously feed the cats, and then went to quail.
Yeah.
And so I've hunted all my life, and every year that either continues either through archery or rifle.
Sure.
And but that was hunting. As I've gotten older, you just maybe through taking things for granted, you start looking to see how important other freedoms are.
Right.
And the Second Amendment thing is really something that's we're being infringed on and encroached on. It was written for a reason, and if you truly understand what that reason is, it's for our protections against government coming into us and infringing upon our rights. And we need to make sure that we keep those freedoms. And I'm a firm supporter of that, Rob.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that. I talk to a lot of these people that are on the fence or somewhat anti-gun, and I keep reminding them. I said, if it wasn't for the Second Amendment, you wouldn't have the First Amendment.
That's it.
and don't forget that. And it holds true for the Fourth Amendment too.
Yep.
So I think it's really important that we elect people like yourself that are strong Second Amendment people, and that we get the message into our state. It just, Jerry Brown and that ilk out there, they just don't understand it. Now we're looking at limitations on ammunition. They want to make it difficult at every turn. And have you ever seen a criminal that follows a law?
No, and that's the fallacy in the whole thing.
It's crazy.
But it's not, not only the First and Second Amendment or the Fourth Amendment. To me, the top 10, founded in 1791, I believe, are all equally important, and we have got to get back to those principles, and we will succeed.
Yeah.
More government with more regulation is not the answer. It's people need to be free to do what they do best, and we as policymakers need to make policy and then get out of the way.
Yeah.
And if we can't do that, then we're failing.
Right.
And then somehow, then again, we've got to get that. I think it's easier to do at a local level, but to get that message to the state and the feds, we have to continue to work on that collaboratively, because everybody's, unfortunately today, got their own party and own this and own that. But we got to get back to serving people, and that's what I'm all about. I know you've probably heard. I worked hard. My retirement's set. So this isn't about money for me. This is about service, and I've been involved in many foundations. 14 years on Camino School Board. I believe in giving back. I want to do this job for nothing, no pay, no benefits. So the taxpayers have that at least to work with. And I want to work towards we do that for everybody. That we should be public servants.
Yes.
Not entitled to everything under the sun.
Right.
And that, I think, starts at the top by setting a proper example. There's travel expenses or something that people should be reimbursed on. I get that. But the rest of it is, it's not about money, it's about service, and we need to get back to that mantra, because that's truly what made this country great.
Well, we used to have a part-time legislature, and when this country was founded, it was founded off the citizen politician, not the professional politician. Right. And we've gotten so far away from that, it's unbelievable. Right now, what's your feeling on term limits?
I believe that they probably ought to go bye-bye. I mean, it becomes a professional thing forever. I mean, no, what I mean is we should keep them. Right. But to me, it's even bigger than that. Let's get people that want to do the job, not because they need a career out of it, not because they need salary or benefits. It's become a job, and even at our local level, it's become a job. And the more they can make it into a job, the more then they can justify. Our county is the highest pay for Board of Supervisors in the region. You go to Amador County, it's about $55,000. You go to Placer County, it's about $35,000. We're at $78,000. There's no independent commission. There's no nothing that sets that. It's the Board of Supervisors. Right there, I got a problem with that.
Yeah, they vote themselves in the raises. That's right.
And I'm not throwing stones at our people. They've done good. We've got better to do. But I think we can, by these sorts of thoughts, we can do better. And I think we need to work towards those things. So there's not self-interest serving here. It's, again, what's best for the people.
Right.
Well, that's what we've got to get it back to.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Let's talk about the fire tax.
Okay.
What's your opinion?
It's illegal. It's an illegal tax. They call it the fire fee, and it's an illegal tax. And if they get this one through, stand by. There'll be more.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it'll be for schools, whatever it'll be, but they're just. It's a loaded shotgun, just waiting to see where that ends up. And that's the wrong way to do business.
Yeah, I don't even understand how it came about. I mean, it seemed to me, and I thought I followed things fairly closely. All of a sudden, boom, here it is. Yeah. What, has this been a long-term plan?
Probably just before I retired, it was being talked about, and CAL FIRE, because we obviously work very close with them.
Yeah.
Prior CDF. They didn't come from them, at least from the level that we work with. And I was on a statewide incident management team. And didn't hear anything through any of those people either. So when it came out, what the discussion was, well, this is strictly a backfill into the budget because the budget is broke, and we need to backfill. And what a better way to do it than put it on an emergency service type of a thing, so people say, "Oh gosh, we have got to have that."
Yeah.
And those comments are out there.
Call it a fee when it's a tax.
That's exactly correct. So in my mind, it's illegal to begin with, and then secondly, you've got fire protection districts. You've got Forest Service in some areas, so you've really got a triplication of services in some areas.
Oh, sure.
There's different things we can do to work through that, not impose some more fees and taxes. It makes it virtually impossible for a local district to try to get any benefit assessments or anything like Pioneer just passed.
Right.
And now you've got another fee on top of that.
Oh, I know.
So all they're doing is just ramping up. And again, there's a fallacy of this. This fee we're getting the bill for right now was for last year. What prevention work was done last year over and above what they do or don't do?
Right.
And you know, just to put money back in the budget. And then if you don't protest it, also the day when you send in your check, you will then not be eligible to get a refund if it's ruled that it is illegal. So you really need.
That's a good one, because I wondered if we
assessor,
should hold back and not pay that.
Or? No. You need to pay it, because there's a 20% penalty 30 days from the date the letters got on it. So you need to pay it, but there's a protest form right on it, and one you can say it's non-constitutional. That right there is a protest. Carl Whelan, our county assessor, on his website has a real good thing on how to pay, what to do, how to file the protest. So that would be a great place to go to.
Oh, yeah.
For that information. But you don't want to not pay it, because the 20% penalty starts 30 days from the date of the letter.
Well, I know that there's some groups that are going to file on it soon here, so let's hope something happens.
I hope so. And there was some discussion late Thursday or Friday that the legislator traded it out for something else, but I haven't seen any of that. It's just been talk so far.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see, and I know the bills have went out, so now what's that going to do to it?
Yeah.
So there's so many deals cut that are well over our head, and again, it's not about representation. It was supposedly what I heard, a deal cut so they can cut a deal later on because there's something else out there they want.
This lobbying is just something else, isn't it?
How's that work for the people?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Not very well.
It's just amazing when I look at the state level, and this whole thing that Jerry Brown's bringing forth is just. To me, unbelievable. But we've run through our time here, and so what I'd like you to do is maybe just give us a wrap up again. Tell us why we should vote for you, and whatever else you want to close.
Okay.
I'm here to listen.
Well, again, Rob, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to be in this county, and I don't take that for granted. I've got the time, I've got the ability, I've got a background of working with state, local, federal government. And know how to collaboratively get things done. And it's a complicated process. We can push a little harder, I think, in some places, and hopefully move to a better level. And that's about representing people. I've done it. I want to continue to do it. It's not about it. It's not about it creating a job for myself. I want to do the job, and I think that's crucial to good community service. I've been involved in many foundations and boards and work on committees today, and I think that's what we need to do. Committees and foundations are the answer to our problem, not more government. So, I'm Brian Veerkamp. I'm trying to make a difference, and I can't do it alone. It takes all of us, and we've got to help by getting people to help. And then, yes, I think we can be successful and return this great county as well as the state back to the people.
Well, that sounds like a great message, and I want to thank you very much for taking some time with us. And maybe down the road you get another issue, we'll bring you back in here again.
I'd love
and
to,
again,
Rob.
Once more time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And hey, guys, everybody out there, thanks for watching Old Guy Tech TV. We had Brian here with us. See you next time. Hi, I'm Rob Charney, Old Guy Tech TV, and I'm here to talk to you today about Windfall. Windfall is your local paper for classified ads, for what's happening in Dorado County, for just about anything that has to do with Dorado County. And they've got some great specials going on right now. As a matter of fact, they have a business special that is stated so that it's a 12-week business text ad for only $60. You can't hardly buy anything for $60, let alone a 12-week ad. Now, of course, you can always add to that or shorten it, whatever you think you want to do. They'll work with you 100%. They'll put the artwork together for you. They'll put the layout together for you. All you need to do is get a hold of them, and they'll take care of all the work for you. And trust me, it works. And we've been with the Windfall for a long time, and it's a great relationship between Old Guy Tech TV and News 44 TV and the Windfall. And we want to make sure that you get to take the same kind of advantage. The paper's incredible. I really highly suggest that you go ahead and you pick up a copy of just about anywhere. They're everywhere, any restaurant or in front of the drugstores and many other stores. You'll find the Windfall there, and it's a great deal. And let me tell you a little bit about Rob and Tina. They've worked very hard to make this newspaper something that they're very proud of. They've done it through the School of Hard Knocks. They're incredible people. They work really hard for you. They want to share their experiences for you. And I can't think of a better two people to really take advantage of this and make sure that you get your ad into their paper, because we sure like it. And I know a lot of others out there who like it as well. And one of the things is they decided that they wanted to move to a larger facility. They were cramped. If you ever saw their old office, there's barely any room for people to move. So they had an opportunity to move to a new location, still in Diamond Springs, and they have a open house. And that open house is September 26th, starting at 5 p.m. over here in Diamond Springs. And you know what? If you can come on by and just say hello, that would be great. Take advantage of some of the food and the music and the cars and some of the other stuff that's out there, and really enjoy yourself and have a great time. So I'm looking forward to it. Old Guy Tech TV will be there. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to you. If you've got a business or you have a message you want to get out, you come and see us. We'll make sure that gets done. So don't forget, shop the windfall. Everybody needs a windfall.